substantial details regarding Ferrari's first major upgrade of the 2024 F1 season have been revealed by the folks over at Formula Uno, with them revealing a huge array of changes that will be taking place across a variety of key areas on the SF-24 at the first of two Italian Grand Prix, starting at the historical venue of Imola, which remarkably will leave the SF-24 having similar looks to that of the RB20. The expectations both internally as well as from both fans and journalists alike is that this can give Ferrari the leap in performance it needs in order to continuously pressure Red Bull and the RB20 consistently across race distances. And even the drivers have begun to outwardly discuss the fast approaching upgrades at Imola, with the only non-Red Bull winner this season, Carlos Sainz, commenting that the upgrade could put us ahead of Red Bull when it arrives. So there is certainly huge optimism and anticipation as the Imola event is but a few weeks away now. The key areas which have been targeted for several months for upgrades is that of the floor, sidepods, as well as some minor changes to the front ring. And of course, the biggest change visually to us will be that of the treatment done to their sidepods. As I previously mentioned across several videos on the channel, Ferrari have been planning to make refinements to the sidepods, with the team having run initially unsuccessful trials with a Red Bull style inlet seen on the RB20 this season. Well, since then, further subsequent trials have been undertaken by the team and they have seemingly cracked the code as they have found significant gains from this style of sidepod. And what I'm talking about specifically with their sidepods is that of the change in inlet design. The SF-24 at Imola will be equipped with brand new inlets, which will be more extreme and along the lines of the Red Bull RB20, which will have the ideas taken from the inverted lip and created and introduced to the SF-24. Now, of course, this change means major revisions have to be made with the internal arrangement of the sidepods to accommodate the upgrade, which the team have managed to implement. It will be fascinating to see how similar the two cars will look visually that weekend. Another change to an area which arguably is even more important to every car up and down the grid is that of the floor. And the design of it is extremely important in how it interacts with the rest of the airflow as it travels through the front ring, down through the brake ducts and into the Venturi tunnels. The pressure which is created has to, of course, be in a precise manner, and for that reason, when such a major change is made to the sidepods, the floor also needs to be reprofiled to achieve the desired levels of downforce and load throughout every range set of corner. And while we don't know quite exactly yet what these changes will look like, they will certainly be visible to the trained eye. But before we go any further, if you've enjoyed the content so far in today's video, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on all notifications so you are up to date as and when I provide new videos on updates to all the Formula 1 teams on the grid. Right, back to the video. And to round up their first big upgrade of the season, some minor changes will be taking place to the front ring. Not much is known about where on the front ring these changes could take place, but it could be very easy to guesstimate some changes to the front ring end plate or perhaps to the actual elements themselves and a reprofiling of them to accommodate all the other changes, as we've all known and we all talk about. When changes are made to such substantial and significant areas which have a huge impact on a car's performance, you cannot change one area of a car. Other areas of a car need to be changed in coordination with that. So this is why such a big upgrade package isn't just created for one area of the car. So when you create a new sidepod layout, you have to create a new floor, you have to create a new front wing, and there could even be a few subtle changes to the brake ducts in order to accommodate and to direct the airflow in a very precise and direct manner throughout the entire car's bodywork. And this is something that the team obviously will be paying a huge amount of attention to detail in when it comes to all the CFD work and the wind tunnel work that they've put into this. As at one point it seemed that they might be accelerating this upgrade, but then they decided to have the, what did they call it, Easter break, something like this, to have as much time to implement the changes that they wanted to, and for it to have as much as of an impact on the car's performance as they possibly could in time for Imola. And I think this was a factor when you consider how good of an opening 4 or 5 rounds that the team have had. It's been night and day in terms of differences compared to last season. They've been ultra competitive on a Saturday, and at times on a Sunday they've been there or thereabouts on the odd occasion, and I think this has helped relieve some of the pressure internally as well as externally on the team to not have to accelerate and fast track these upgrades, and to make sure they can, eke out every minute bit of performance from them, and to not race the very limited resources that every team has up and down the grid, as teams don't have finite resources when it comes to creating wind tunnel specifications and CFD tests in order to see what they can do to improve their car. And another thing which is really important to the team is something that they found in the subsequent tests when it comes to the Red Bull style inlet on the SF-24. This has actually opened up, according to the article on Formula Uno, a very much important and additional area of development that wasn't necessarily there to begin with their initial version 1 of the SF-24. This new version, which we could call a 2.0, is going to open up more avenues and more potential for further developments later in the season, which can only be a good thing for the team. All in all, these updates should bring a significant performance across a single lap as well as a race distance, as a 2 to 10th improvement in lap time, as this update is rumored to produce, will have a great and dramatic impact across the total time of a race distance, and should bring them a lot closer to that of Red Bull. Of course, all of this is relative to what Red Bull bring to the table as well throughout the season, and there's going to be swings and roundabouts in terms of performance between the two teams. And to be perfectly honest, I would say Ferrari and Red Bull are going to be the top 2 teams throughout the season. I really cannot see any team on the grid making the sort of inroads as, say, McLaren made in the back half of last season. I think the development scope and the starting position from both of these two teams this season has left them with a lot of improvement left out there to find in terms of lap time. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out, and I really hope Ferrari manage to really bring the fight to Red Bull throughout the rest of the season once this big upgrade package arrives to Imola. Right guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, comment down below and subscribe, and I will catch you all in another Formula 1 video later this week.